see if anybody shows up. I guess I'm supposed to have something to talk about, and just start talking like knew everybody's going to be here and stuff like that. About it's 106.3 degrees out there in the shade. Um, got a nice 6 to 8 mile per hour breeze uh, coming almost out of directly south. It's a little east, mostly south. If you walked into the wind from here, you would hit the South Pole. Yeah, pretty sure you'd find Antarctica anyway. Or the ice wall or whatever. However you believe the Earth to be shaped, I suppose. I'm coming. I'm kind of what's up? Fond of the big ball in the sky. Uh, Frisbees always manage to fall down sooner or later, so I don't want to live on a frisbee. It's basically the flat Earth thing is it's just an upside down frisbee with a salad bowl over it, and yeah, I don't want to live there. Hey, there. I actually just got through watching C103's little short video on. I should have wrote it down. It was actually it's the closest I've ever known Mark to come to actually losing his stuff and calling somebody out. Yeah, I don't know. I missed something by not doing the news, I guess. But his news would be different than my news anyway. Let me see if it's still on here. Seriously? Go to notifications. Country Store Classroom. That video. C103. Check it out. I've actually watched a total of 4 YouTube videos today. Five. Two of them were marks. They were a little bit short ones. Walter. I read your comment there, Walter, and I was looking for Wes in the comments. And I was like, wait, that's me. So, there's actually a Wesley something that comes in there every once in a while. Don't even get to go to any of the live streams anymore. I'm never on the internet when anybody goes live. I'm all out. I can't move very fast, but I'm trying to move the best I can anyway. Hey, Sid's dad. Long time no see. I honestly didn't know today was Thursday until 9:30. For you latecomers, it's 106 plus out there in the shade. Nothing I have to do is in the shade anymore. So the wind is hot. My We have two hens setting, and they're both up. They're at their nest, but they're not. Uh, they're not covering the eggs. Well, they're covering the eggs, but they're trying to fan them and cool them down. I don't know how successful their attempt at growing baby chickens is going to be because I think it's too hot for them. We've got to candle the eggs tonight and see if. Hold on a second, please. Sorry about that. Object. Anybody that says 106 in dry heat is okay ain't never been in 106 degrees in dry heat. Uh, Now I wouldn't go outside in 106 with 70 or 80% humidity. That would just be suicide. Uh, that's the no go to South Texas or South Central Texas in the summer. Just East Texas is a bad idea too. Texas is definitely a winter climate. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't get this hot in Florida. I don't think. I lived down there. I don't remember it being this hot. The Well, if you were close enough to the ocean, it wasn't bad anyway. There was times you couldn't walk in the ocean. You could not walk in the Gulf because the water would burn you. Would literally. It was too hot. You couldn't get into the water. So, sorry to hear that. She's dead. I'm. Uh, I don't look at the newspaper anymore, and when the local news comes on the radio, I turn it off. I got slammed with two obituaries the other day. Wasn't paying attention. I was like, damn it. I don't have very many close friends. So, uh, but it's getting really, really old watching or reading about all my acquaintances kicking the bucket. So, the yeah, never been a funeral guy. It takes a lot for me to show up to a funeral. I've been to my mother's funeral. I've been to my brother's funeral, and I've been to uh, Wayne Buchanan's funeral, and James Ratliff's funeral. Pretty sure it was at my dad's. I remember it. And Ella and I was never going to forget that girl's name. Rob's girls. That's that's it. That's all the funerals I've ever made. Right. I don't like them. I don't. Uh, Funerals are for the people that are still alive. And if you got issues with the people that are still alive that are going to be at the funeral, ain't no sense of going. If it takes somebody passing away to get people to bury the hatchet, that's never really buried. Aranza, yes, thank you. And I feel real bad about that because I've actually been focusing pretty heavily on not thinking about them. So, hey, Carol. I was talking to a mutual friend of all of ours. And, hey, Ben, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah. We were talking about stuff, and anyway, my brother came up. And so I spent all day yesterday all melancholy, dehydrating. My eyes kept sweating. We did everything together. Well, it's weird. The Went through an ugly divorce, two of them, and both divorces, I got super stupid on. After the marriages fell apart, and there was a little bit of help from other members of the family. My mom, my mom was a big help on the second divorce, but the guy that went and had an extra key made for his house and uh, handed it to me both times was my brother. There's You can borrow the couch for a couple of days was the most I got out of any of the rest of my family. The first one I actually, after the first first divorce, I was literally, I mean, I was doing really stupid shit. Um, I was too young to have got married. I got married because, well, I was poking fun and she took it serious. And anyway, I wound up with like 4 or 5 checks in Lubbock County that, well, there wasn't a bank account attached to them. Uh, I needed food. Well, gas, groceries, and beer. That's where those checks went. And anyway, my brother was the one that come got me out of jail. Took him 4 weeks to save up the money, and he wouldn't bail me out. He didn't bail me out. He found out how much it was going to cost to get a down payment on paying those checks off, and showed up in Lubbock County. Come see me first and said, "I've got enough money to get you started paying these off, but you're going to get a job in the, you're going to pay them off." Anyway, he got me out of jail, and when he meant I was going to get a job, he meant I was going to go where he was at and go to work. And I did, and paid the checks off. That's where my first 2 paychecks went, was clearing up the checks. And then I went right back to being stupid. But I had a job, and I was used to pay the jobs. Hey, see what out there. I just told everybody to go watch your. Hold on, let me see. Your country store school video. Where? Country store classroom. Um, and I'll take some peach preserves if you don't mind, since you got plenty. Um, peaches. This was not supposed to be me reminiscing. I'm not getting started back up on all that crap again. That gummit. Anyway, I wasn't planning on it. At least my eyes aren't leaking there. Um, I did tear into my AR yesterday, and I still can't believe that. I mean, I barely moved that barrel nut, and there was a tiny bit of wiggle in the barrel. I mean, just almost imperceptible. And I took it down, and I couldn't get the freaking. I couldn't find my punches to knock the roll pins out and stuff. I don't know. Who knows? We're in the middle of moving still, and they're here. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, because I could see when I started taking it apart. I never noticed that before. It's got the barrel guard, the as had rails on it, and those rails weren't lining up with the sight rail on the uh, upper. And I'm like, that's your fault. So I took a brass drift, which I could find, and put it on one of the ears, and just took a very small hammer, and proceeded to tap it until when I put it back, the rifle back together, the rails were lining up again. And went out and I put a 30 round magazine in it, and I shot 3 rounds, went and checked that they were all in the same place. They were nowhere close to where they were supposed to be on the target, but they were all within 3 inches of each other. And this was at 25 rounds. So I went back and did another set and went up, and yeah, they were all. I put a little bit more effort into it, and the circle was closer. I didn't get the spot. And anyway, then I adjusted my point of aim, and then put 10 rounds, and they were all, I'd say they were inside 4 inches circle. And so then I stepped back to 50 yards, and the human error kicked in, and the size of the circle grew, but the pattern wasn't 18 inches. So I just can't believe that small amount of change mattered that much on that rifle. Okay. I think I'm going to take the front side off of it now. And hey, Chipper. Um, anyway, I'm not going. My AR is no longer for sale. It was for sale really cheap. Anybody want to buy a blue gun? Trade. Did a blue Ruger for tailgate one. Not a cheap one either. It's not a cheap Ruger. We'll be cleaning my AR more regularly though. That poor thing was nasty. And I went and shot it and just put it, went and rode it around the block and then put it back in the barn. I didn't even do anything. I didn't clean anything. Shot it. Now the phone call a while ago, that was the missus. She was actually asking me to go to town with her, and she knows I get really sucks from like 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. It's just me and the dogs, and the dogs are useless when it gets hot. They don't want to play or nothing. Just sleep. So, I'm making me some wobble eggs. Yeah, I told you all how to do that. An egg will dry out if you put it out in the if you put it out in the dry heat. It will dry out before it rots. That's a lot of people during the summer they pitch eggs because uh, they float, and I'm like, it's the egg isn't making gas. Okay, um, the egg is losing moisture, so it just means the bubble in there has gotten big enough to float the egg. I eat floaters all the time. Uh, Now, if that sucker's bobbing around in the top of the water, I don't do that. If you don't wash your eggs when you collect them, they don't rot unless they've started becoming a chicken, and then they'll get gross because the egg dies and stuff. 5.56. It's a Ruger AR 5.56. Somebody puts a lot of 223 in it though, because that's all I could find. Got a bunch of 5.56 too. Well, for me, a bunch. I'm not quite as ammo poor as some of the people. I think I may have over purchased 22 though. Found some green paint. I'm going to paint my barn green. There's an update for you. Me and my wife are just still discussing whether or not I'm allowed to buy yellow paint for the trim. She's voting no, and I'm just going to go buy the paint and deal with her not talking to me for 10 or 15 weeks. So, I was told I could not paint the shed green and yellow, but apparently my shop barn is mine and I can do it all too. It's really pretty green. And yeah, I mean but mine the barrel was actually loose. Yep. Um, I don't know how to explain it. Took the gun down and put the barrel and stuff in uh, a vise and grabbed the end of it, and I could just feel it moving. I mean, I wouldn't have, not in a million years could you make me believe that that was enough to cause it to do an 18-inch pattern at 45 yards. 40, 45. Because I have a 25. I have 25 yards mark, and I have 40 yards mark on my little range here, and 10 yards is in the middle of the driveway. So, and for those of you that are concerned about it, I have a gate that I can swing closed on the driveway, and the people can't drive in when I'm shooting. The goats got out the other day, and this guy pulled up, and he stopped at the gate, and walked up to the house. Oh, he said, I need to know if y'all had some goats or whatever, but I just didn't want to get shot. There is something to be said for building your shooting range in your front yard. I'm just saying. Uh, just saying. Leaving your steel out there with little dark spots all over it lets people know that you do it too. Nah, John Deere, man. John Deere. I was say whatever you want to. John Deere started this crap. Everybody else just following. Everybody else just following. Say whatever else you want to. And I'm not as big a Ford fan as I used to be. But Ford started and everybody else is just following suit. I wish they'd bring back the Ford suspension. The that was what made Fords better, in my opinion. They didn't drive as smooth, and they were, yeah, you can just jump into a Chevy after you've been driving a Ford for a while because they drove different, almost identical, but Fords would turn inside of a Chevrolet. It's just the way it was. Because the way their front end was made, you could camber the front wheels over a lot farther. You could also drive up and down dirt roads and over cattle guards forever with them, and the front end didn't fall out. There's that. The most common things to find on a dirt road are those little tuning fork things or whatever. Your those spacers for your A-frame, your fucking arm thing, whatever the hell it's called. Some bitches are always bouncing out. You couldn't bounce those out on a Ford. They didn't have them. Just saying. But yeah. Yeah, I'm not a football guy. I used to watch basketball, but then Larry Bird retired, and that was the end of it. It aggravates the snot out of me to watch pro basketball now. Do they even dribble anymore? I don't think so. I think they just run up and down. I think it's more like a dodgeball. So, like college ball. But they actually blow the whistle in college ball sometimes. I'll never watch another girls' basketball game. It got so competitive around here that people were having to call the sheriff, and they actually have rules now. You have to they have to videotape the games. That way, if there is an assault on while the game's being played, they can prosecute the girls. That's um, that's when you know things have gotten out of hand. I'm thinking about trying to get the papers on that F-150 or F-100 back there. But if I do, I'm just going to build a rat rod out of it. Well, not really a rat rod. I'm good. There's nobody. They're not making vehicles anymore. My Ram, God, that's a Cadillac, man. The backup mirror, uh, AC blows everywhere. Uh, Stupid fast. I don't need that truck. I like them. It averages all city, highway, everything. It averages 18 and a half miles a gallon. That's idling and everything, and I idle a lot. Um, it's you know built-in hands-free on the phone, and um, it's got all kind of. It's got that freaking air conditioner knob shifter. I don't like that. It's got an 8-speed transmission. Uh, anyway, it, uh, it rides like a Cadillac, but it's not a truck. I'm actually hoping to find a 80s Dodge. And I'd like to find me a single cab. Well, I'd like to have either a 70s Ford uh, single cab or a 80s Dodge single cab, long wheelbase truck, long bed. Uh, in the 70s, I could if I can find one. They made long wheelbase step sides. Uh, Early 70s, but those are. I mean, ideally, that's what I'd find, but. I think my days of building vehicles are over with, though. I always thought whenever the kids got grown and out, I'd go back to building stupid vehicles. But found more important things to do with my money. Right now, I'm saving money for a another 1,300-gallon tank. And I've got to come up with about $400 or $500 worth of sheet metal. A guy gave me some. If I can ever get on and get it. Yeah, my Ram's Canadian. It's a Lone Star edition, and it's fucking Canadian. Gave up on growing corn. The corn's just not going to do. It's too hot. I'm going to say this year's garden was a test garden. We are going to try to plant. Actually, we're going to try to plant too early. The corn too early. That's. But we have a plan for that. We're going to build. Or not we. I am going to build some rebar posts, and when we plant the corn, we'll go ahead and plant the rebar posts too. And if it looks like it's going to be too cold overnight, we will put the rows of corn in their own little hoop gardens. They're and what do you call it? There's things you can do. It's I actually got this thing I'm playing around with my head. I don't know how good of an idea it is, but if it looks like it's gonna freeze or whatever, I'm wondering if I can get away with running a heat gun in because that puts out 900 degree air, and if I run it through the like dryer vent stuff and have it going into the little miniature greenhouses. I figure the ones right at the discharge size, and the air won't be 900 degrees by the time it gets there because it would be like the irrigation pipe. And one end would be too warm, and the other end would be probably not get warm enough. That's just me overthinking. So, like I said, I got like 4 or 5 hours a day every day that I'm all by myself. So. All right, sis, that'd be good. That's what I was saying about the trucks. I just reread Tibor's thing. They're not making trucks anymore. They're making statements, I guess. You know, look ooh wee, look at me. Is what they're making. And they've been doing that for a while. I mean, grew up riding around in a 1972 Ford Ranger XLT. That was just about as woo wee looking me as you could get. It was my brother's second vehicle purchase. And he went to the car lot and he had a job and he had down payment. The truck was 1 year old, had like 9,000 miles on it. You know, he bought it. Owned it from owned it for a long time. Somebody T-boned it and took it out. Literally pushed it from the street across a yard and into somebody's house. It wasn't. There was no fixing that. His dad left, and I lost 2 or 3 people. 4. So one of those was probably Chipper. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna talk trash about people with fancy trucks on it." Toyota was doing a pretty good job of making trucks there for a while, and they finally jumped on the bandwagon. They're just making. When you can order a truck, but a truck costs you more than just going to and buying one of the fancy ones off the deal. A truck with roll you up and down and just what do you call it? Regular windows and doors and no power seats and no fancy dashboard and all. And ordering one of those is actually more expensive than the others because they literally have to special make anything that's not tooled out. So vanilla trucks are actually more expensive. And downside to it is the people that spend the money on the vanilla trucks, by the time they get around to selling them and replacing their fleet or whatever, they're done. Um, I used to, uh, the guy I bought my work truck from, he would go to the auction and he would buy old fleet trucks. And then I'd buy a fleet truck. And uh, never bought a bad one. Well, I had an 85 Dodge one time, single wheel one time. And I sold it 10 years ago. And the guy's still driving it. I would and yeah, try 5 is over with. Well, I don't want a 1 ton. I just want a half ton truck. Uh, I actually want to find a Lariat, a Ford Lariat with a 300 inline 6 cylinder with the 5-speed manual transmission. If I found one of those, I'd buy an 80s model truck. Those things will get about 19 miles a gallon, and you can pull whatever you need to pull with that 300. And yeah, I just don't want one of the ones with that EFI bullshit on it. What you got going on, Carol? You're being awful quiet over there. Hey, Mark, how many peas did you get, or did you get over there and pick them? We're actually uh, getting green beans out of the garden now. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I gave you a reason to take a break, which you're probably not taking a break. But yeah, I probably should have gone to town with the wife instead of sitting here and talking to y'all. She's probably going to go to supper after. And that's why I'm out here in the shed talking to y'all on this laptop because it's 106.5 degrees out there. Well, it was 106.2 when I started getting ready to do the live stream. And it was 106.3 by the time I left the house. And it'll climb. Well, I don't know. It should stop climbing by now. Whatever. It should be at the max temperature now because it's August. Um, I don't know about you, but this part of the world, August it stays in the upper 90s, and if you're lucky, you get a breeze. Today we're actually lucky we got a breeze. The wind just dies off in August. We're making some tomatoes. We had two plants die. But they weren't making anything anyways. We've had a lot of the giant uh, grasshoppers this year. Oh wow, then Mark, that's good. They the black eyed peas or the purple hulls or whatever. The I need to do some more cooking, but it's too hot, man. I don't want to cook in the house. And everything, every one of my recipes feeds 6 adults, man. I didn't really start cooking around the house again until the kids were already nearly adults. So, I was feeding me and the wife and the nephew and kids, and I just always had to feed more than me and my wife, and it's really hard to cook for just 2 people. I was going to do a pot of beans today and didn't get around to it. Yeah, we're making green peppers good. Man, this is the first, we're doing, knock on wood, we're doing really good with the bell peppers this year. And onions, man, our onions are doing good. We're, we got a little dehydrator over there. It's not much, it's nothing to write home about. Um, but we're going to take the green onions off the onions and the green parts off of the onions. And we're going to dice them up and we're going to dehydrate those. And put those back. Thinking about dehydrating all the onions actually. And it's just, it takes a little more room, but it's dehydrated stuff just seems to last store better than anything else. When I get the barn finished, the next project is actually the outdoor cooking area around this shed. And because it's going to take me forever to get it done. And I want it done by next summer. Because that's where we plan on doing all the canning and stuff. You know, it's it just, for us, it seems silly to put all that effort into cooling the house off just so we can heat it back up canning. So we're going to build a it's not going to just be for canning, but if we've got the outdoor cooking area, then we can can outside. And I've got all the stuff to, all the, what do you call it, appliances for it. Well, I am going to put in a little propane stove out of an RV, which will allow me to run one canner. But then I can also, if I want to cook a meal or something, I can cook it outside without heating the whole house up, running that big ass oven in the house. Well, that's ominous. Guns coast to coast. But I guess that answers the question of the title, huh? I was wondering if anybody was actually going to ask about that or say anything about it. Ooh. 3 paper wasps in here with me. 2 of the little ones. What are y'all doing? One of them great big. I'm going to introduce them to a box of 22 ammunition, which they really don't like, ever. But it's so easy to kill them when they're in the window because they just keep trying to fly out. And you squish them with this. And they put trails on there. Oh, why that bullet crack? That's what I was saying. I think I may have overbought 22. Anybody ever see that before? What is that? Just on these 2 shells. Huh. And this brass is less yellow than the other end. This is just a pack of 100 of CCI. That's the one when I have to shoot something. I take the bullets out of there and put it back in the shooter. No, Clifford, you gotta let your corn dry all the way out, and you gotta keep it dry too. And make sure you ain't got no daggum weevils in it. No, I'm good, man. Everybody's sick around here. Yeah, stay ready. You don't have to be ready. And this clock is actually way better. I got back to a point where I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. Anybody want some rock candy? Uh, it's pure honey that is like a rock, you know. I was going to use that to make some cactus mead, but it completely quit raining and got super hot, and all the cactus are dying with the fruit on. So there will be no cactus berries this year. Um, go through the pantry. I'm so busy, haven't been paying attention apparently. I don't have a clue. I don't know. I guess I have seen that before, just not in a sealed box like that. These are, I can find a born on date. They put a born on date on these ones? It's got a lead warning on here. Apparently these can use lead poison. Anyway, I've got him over there that's at least 15 years old. That's probably some of it. Try to rotate it out, but I mean, that's all right. 22s. That's the big silos I have the corn in, and that's it's been a lot. Hey, another walk. I guess they're coming in around the door. Big gal. Big little juice. How'd that feel? I wonder if it has something to do with that being the end of the ammo thing I keep squishing the wasp with. Maybe it's those stains are caused by wasp blood or something. Okay. Spam. S Pam. S Pam calls me a lot. Does S Pam call y'all? Sometimes she hides her name, and you don't know it's S Pam. I just figured they call me all the time because my name's Wes S, and they think I'm related. Yeah, I could sit it out and whatever. But that's actually I was using honey in my coffee, but um, here lately I've been using raw sugar instead of the white sugar. I've been using raw sugar. I actually prefer honey. I like really strong coffee. I mean, really stupid strong coffee with honey in it. Uh, but if I'm going to do really stupid strong coffee with honey in it, then I'm going to have 1 cup. Because you can't drink that much really stupid strong coffee. Um, People are like, "You drink how much coffee a day?" No, a lot. But I'm not drinking espressos dipstick. Um, and I'm not drinking. Make 2 pots of coffee in the morning. The one that we drink when we first get up, we each get 2 cups out of it, and it's that'll wake you up. But then the rest of it's mostly just colored water. Like, I mean, it tastes like coffee. You can tell it's mostly water. My first cup of coffee in the morning, I don't I don't want to see the sides of the cup. It's a white cup, and I don't want to see the sides of it. I want the spoon to disappear. I want the spoon to disappear as I put it in there to stir my sugar. If I can scoop up coffee and see the bottom of that spoon in the morning, it's like coffee. And then the next box, I can see that I can read the newspaper to it. So what did I miss? What issue? What's issue one? See, my preferred coffee is Maxwell House. Uh, I'll drink Folgers. There's nothing wrong with it, but my favorite coffee is Maxwell. Or gummit. There's a local coffee company that delivers to the cafes and stuff. That's good coffee. I can't remember the label of that. Oh, yeah, I would know. I'm better keep up what's going on in Texas. Uh, I know about it. There's nothing more about it than I do. Woo! See, y'all people missing out. Uh, and I don't know a lot about what's going on here. Because, you know, I'm one of those guys that if I know about something, I'll run my head about it. So, politics wise. And uh, my wife doesn't like me to run my head about politics on the local scale because, well, reasons. We got some interesting goings on going on here in our local political environment. Uh, that is the lamest, most written by somebody else's uh, resignation I ever heard in my life. Uh, old boy got caught straight up trying to game the system to take the power away from the people, and got called out on it and stuff. Started threatening to off people. I mean, in front of the police. And we still trying to dig it out and root it out. There's a lot of corruption, but it ain't the kind of people they don't realize. Um, it's I gotta shut up. Anyway, it's getting interesting up in here. And I had to sit over here like this stupid little field mouse under a rock, going, just keep my mouth shut, hoping that Crow and that Tomcat take each other asses out, and I just get to go and eat my little piece of wheat. It's interesting though. I shared a video on my community thing. That started this whole wow. That the video was captured about midway through when this stuff all started. It's been going on for a couple 3 years. People that have been dug in like ticks for a while. It, the corruption is not at the people that's coming in and going back out. The corruption is at the people that have been on salary for a while. It's getting fixed. And Since the bottle says what, go. Dang, you can't leave me like that. I don't even drink anymore. Sucks. Well, it doesn't suck, but I started paying attention to everything I did in my life. And you know how you do that. You get your little grid, and you're like, okay, I did this. You know, I did all these things on these days, and didn't do them on these days. These days I didn't have a headache, and these days I did have a headache. And then you take all the boxes that are the same on the days that you didn't have a headache, and on the days you did have a headache, and you take those out of the equation. And then you're left with the boxes that were checked on the days that you had either the headache, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, and you discover that there's a correlation between certain things in your life and headaches, and you're just like, well, that sucks. And so, one of the things I no longer have my evening bourbon. Uh, they don't trigger the headaches, but if I have had alcohol and I have a headache, it is always a bad one. Always. Every time. I would rather not drink the alcohol than have a headache. So I agree. Term limits for everybody. I think um, and this sounds weird because they're legislators. Um, I don't think that anybody that is licensed through the state bar should be allowed to hold political office. Um, the rules or the laws should be written in plain, concise English so that they will say what they say, and so we can, instead of when you keep adding stuff to a law more and more and more to explain what you mean, then you get to a point where you've added so much to the law explaining what it means, then if you haven't deliberately in the law excluded a thing, that means it's not talking about it, and that's how they cloud all this stuff up. Um, like the Constitution shall not be infringed. That means they cannot make a law. They cannot make a city freaking ordinance Wyatt Earp was a scumbag anti-2A POS. In my opinion, I don't like the bastard. Him and several. I mean, yeah, he was trying to clear up crime. I mean, I just watched a documentary on serial killers from the Wild West, and most of them were lawmen. The first thing they did was take everybody else's guns away and then start killing people. The ATF is unconstitutional. None of the regulations they make are legal. They cannot exist according to our Constitution. If they do away with the F. If you take the F off, nothing in our Constitution saying that we have the right to alcohol. There's nothing in our Constitution saying we have the right to tobacco. But the Constitution says they cannot make a law against a guy owning a gun or a gal owning a gun, a citizen owning a firearm. The end. Discussion over. Any law enforcement officer that enforces a gun law other than one that says, okay, you have committed a crime using a gun, but if they are enforcing a law that, the only infraction was the possession of or the ownership of that weapon, is an enemy of the state and a traitor to the Constitution of the United States. That's it. Yeah. It's a little short on, no, it's a reel on Instagram. This lady's like, I told y'all people not to be honking and throwing the finger at people and stuff, especially not in Texas or Florida. And she's saying because in Texas or Florida, you can carry a gun. The guy that shot that old gal probably was doing something else illegal. Bad people, if the man who was in the vehicle that got shot at had his own weapon, he could have returned fire and his wife would not have been the only one who paid for the incident. It's got to be legal to shoot back. Somebody, I don't want to talk to that person anymore. I didn't see it. It's America, bitch. How's that? Do what I want. Oh man, I was almost there. Anyways, does anybody notice that on here, like if you comment on people's stuff now, it doesn't say your channel name. It says it puts your channel link. Is that showing up on everybody's stuff or just mine? Like if when I comment on somebody's stuff, it shows up as my West 2016 or whatever. Which is weird because I got my channel way before then. Check and see if there was batteries in the remote so I could take them out, but apparently they've already taken them Um, I don't understand how people can scream about, the Second Amendment rights and this, that, and everything else, but then be okay with certain people having their rights removed. It's either everybody's right or nobody's right. Um, Now, do I think that, I'm there? I'm sorry, but if you've gone out and you've done felonious things, then yeah, you don't really need to, unless it's political, I guess. Uh, if you've proven that you're the kind of guy that's going to go knock off liquor stores and stuff like that, I don't. I'm pretty sure you don't need to be able to go legally buy a firearm until you get your stuff together and quit behaving such. What do I think about the alien? Okay, I can talk about that. So what? The I figure it's probably some kind of smoke screen. Um, yeah. Do I buy into the one lady that's on there now? On She's talking about it now. Are they getting us ready for the rapture because they're saying, "Oh, aliens are real." So when people start disappearing, it was aliens. It wasn't the rapture. Puff puff pass, gal. The Y'all hate me all you want to, but that rapture is a load of shit. The way it's preached, okay, the way people believe it, uh, is a rapture like thing going to occur? Yes. Uh, is anything much going to happen after that? No. Well, a lot, but uh, that's when Jesus has finally had enough of giving us chances to get right and basically, it's what's that one? Game over, man. It's that's it. Yeah, the rapture happens, and then that's it. It's over with. The There'll be a whole lot of people uh, get sucked up into heaven, and then there'll be a whole lot of other people get sucked up into the waiting room, and then everybody gets judged, and uh, it's not there, wasn't in on writing the book, but I don't think the government's acknowledging aliens is a prelude to them trying to distract us from the rapture. That's all I'm trying to say there. That's my opinion on that aspect of it. Now, I've believed in aliens a really long time, so I guess that might be a difference. I've seen AAs, which is an animal, and I've seen lemurs. They're basically the same thing, but uh, if God made that lemur, why would He need to turn around and make the AA or II or however you say it? Well, same reason I smoke. It ain't 70, but much. Um, because wanted to. No. I'm also not so full of myself. I'm not one of those self-righteous saints that people like to talk about. Um, or hypocritical saints. Same thing. Assuming that God, in all His glory, and I believe in around Earth, built a gazillion, billion solar systems, so we could look at them at night and be, we're more special than any other solar system out there. I don't believe that either. Uh, God made the dinosaurs. They're not still here. Um, God made a lot of things. They're not still here. Do I think aliens are coming to Earth and abducting people and probing them and stuff? Hey, we do have people marrying goats. I'm just saying, what alien races want to do with livestock, that's not really my purview. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you're worried about that, alien probing stuff, then I suggest you don't go to Roswell. See? Um, hey, man. Hey, sorry you gotta do real life, man. And dude, I have seen so many videos on Fort Myers, and I've been remembering Fort Myers. I love Fort Myers. North Fort Myers got hit bad, man. North Fort Myers is where I lived when I was down there. And then we would go to the beach. North Fort Myers got flooded hard. And, um, polar shift happens all the time. It doesn't. The Earth doesn't stop spinning and start going the other direction. It's you just switch. Three-phase motor. All three phases make the magnetic motor work. You make the electric motor work. Okay. You actually have to physically change two of the wires to make the motor go the other direction. Okay. Any two wires. One the but this is just changing this no change the changes the polarity of the motor when you change the wires. When the pole shift from north positive, south negative, or whatever happens, nobody changes the wires. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna go and spin back up. It just your your compass is going to be upside down. That's, that's and uh, now the tilt we have tilted. We've there's actually science behind the. I forget how much. Instead of being like SD, wait, no. Instead of being like SD, with just a little bit. Um, but that's something else that happens all the time. As we go around. I mean, it's been happening for a really long time. The Earth's been doing like this on this little axis. So after it gets to a point, it'll start rolling back up the other way. Some years Texas is closer to the sun in August. Some years it's further away. Um, did we ever get hit with that big solar storm that was coming this way? Or did that miss us again? Yes, people. And unless somebody goes in there and stops the core from doing the core thing, and then does something to the mantle and makes the mantle stop doing something. And if that happens, if the core stops spinning and the Earth stops spinning and then they start spinning in the opposite direction, it's not going to matter. There's not going to be birds, fishes, water, air. Ain't none of that shit. It's all going to be over with. We're going to explode. When you shut down a motor and just slam it in reverse, it comes apart. And that's a little bitty thing. People have no idea how fast the Earth actually turns. Yes. And that's because the magnetic north is actually caused by the electromagnetic whatever Jengadera thing. I can see the picture in my head, which is radiating from the core. And which is radiating from from the interaction of the core and the mantle, which is generating it. Blah blah blah. Science stuff. See, when I was through here, are you more like a T-Rex or a Triceratops or one of those dinosaurs with the big long teeth and the great big giant hook fingers or whatever? Uh, which makes absolutely no sense to me at all. I don't think they've got that dinosaur put together right. The only reason they have big claws like that is because you was a digger. Yeah, exactly. Just, I mean, it's not. It just can't. I mean, people, I have no time. No, the Earth has never stopped spinning. Now, if something ever happens and we have a real big wobble with the actual axis, you know, if our actually rotation does this really fast, you know, instead of taking years to move a few degrees, if it does it over a couple of months or something, that's going to cause all kinds of stress. That's going there's going to be volcanoes. There's going to be earthquakes. There's going to be tidal wave. Man, it's going to be rough. And that just, you know, just from a few degrees, rocking the pony. And I don't know that something like that hasn't happened. I imagine a meteor the size of Manhattan smacking into the planet might cause it to wobble some. So I'd be willing to bet that there was some wobbling going on there right after the dinosaurs got smoked. Uh, Same. You well, I had a little fawn, run out across the highway and smack into the side of my truck. He ran off. He was fine, but I felt it. It bumped me over. It has a little bitty fawn hitting a Ford Ranger. Almost sang the Ford Ranger song. Uh, so speaking purely in the front, not size, but in mass, I can see where, you know, something with the mass of the island of Manhattan, because it's a big chunk of rock. I can see it causing a little spin or, you know, a little wobble. Yeah, I mean, storms, tidal waves. Oh, I mean, it'd be horrible. It'd be, uh, you'd wind up with everything spread all over the place. Some people worry about stuff that just don't. I mean, we got real things to worry about, like uh, the fact that they are getting away. We were going to hang all of the people that slammed us for not wanting to take the. We were going to get to hang them out to dry. Guess what? Not anymore. El Stubberoni's gone. El Boobahooney's in there now. Um, that transition happened. Anybody know that? Anybody notice that? Anybody notice that? Is anybody paying attention? I didn't think so. He gets to drag his pension with him. Is that fair? Um, there's not going to be any reparations for the millions of small business owners that will never get to reopen. I mean, people keep looking for a reason to do something. If you ain't found something by now, you're not going to. You ain't looking. The end, man. If you ain't found a reason to be pissed yet, you are not going to. See, I got to get my globe out. The Earth is tilted. Okay. The Earth spins around its axis like this. Not if the sun's not here and the Earth isn't spinning around this axis. The Earth is like this. And as the Earth goes around, part of the year, the top of the planet is closer to the sun. And the other part of the year, the other side of the other end of the Earth is closer to the sun. That's the way it works. That's why it's wintertime for Great Scott in Australia, because he's on the south end of the planet and they close to the sun right now. The end. That's weird. But I'm gonna give myself a thumbs up. Now I'm doing good right now. I'm giving me a thumbs up. Boom. I don't mean a headache. What's all this thinking business? Just jumped on here so I could talk a bunch of trash for a while. Anyway, I believe. I really hope I didn't offend anybody with the rapture thing. I mean, if I did, I'm sorry, but I can't help it because it's. I don't want there to be any doubt, though, that I fully, 100% believe in God the Father, and God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. We're not going to take this Trinity thing apart. God bless y'all. Y'all stay alive. Don't die. I believe in God.